All right, let's clap it up. All right, Shalom, Israel. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, since 1969, under Commander General Yohana. We are here to edify the so-called Black and Latino, Native American man, woman, and child, and to bring them back to their heritage and show them that they are God's chosen people, the children, the lost tribes that the Bible speaks of. I am priest and officer Nayat, and this is the Tuesday night Brotherhood class. Tonight I'm going to be going over basically the forefathers of Israel, how Israel became, Israel. We got to start at the beginning in Genesis, starting with Noah, right? When the Most High flooded the earth, he was upset with with men, because men, of course, we started having our own imagination, start doing our own things and not following the Most High. We want to follow ourselves, our lusts, what have you. But, the Christian church, the powers that be that would have you believe that, Christ died for everyone. God loves everyone. All the other nations can receive the covenant, or what have you, or be grafted in. All those lies that the Christian church teaches, right? But we are here to tell you that that's all a lie. That's all false. That's all a lie, right? The Most High, he loves only one tribe, and that's the tribe of Israel. The 12 tribes, that is. But we're gonna go ahead and get into these scriptures and just break it down. Very simple. You just have to have reading comprehension skills, whatnot, because Christian church and their followers, they like to add to the Bible and take away from the Bible, which Most High said do not do. You do not add to this Bible, you do not take away from this Bible. These words are here for a reason, and Most High put them here for a reason. This word will not go void. But it's unfortunate, if we follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, and I'm talking about we as far as the, so-called Latin man, Black man, Native American man, what have you, we would be in a better place. We'd be, in a better state, as a people, we wouldn't be based as a people. We wouldn't be going through these atrocities, that we go through, this curse that the Most High put on us. Slocky. All right, Slocky, Israel. Yeah, but so like I said, we'll be in a better place, as far as our people, but we choose to, our oppressors taught us Christianity. They brought us in here in captivity and gave us their religion, our way of life, this is our heritage, this is, we are not, religion is man-made, we were born Israelites, God's chosen people, but we're going to go ahead and start in Genesis chapter 6. Oh, slug. All right. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with God. And see, the Christian church will say what? It's impossible to be perfect. Not to the Most High. You know how you be perfect? You follow his law, statutes, and commandments. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So, and another thing with Noah, it said Noah walked with God, right? That's figuratively. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, the way he walked with God, he observed his laws. He observed his law, statutes, commandments. His customs. You know what I'm saying? That's how, he walked with the Most High. And that's how we should walk with the Most High, Israel. Verse 10. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Verse 11. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. Verse 12. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. Verse 13. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I would destroy them with the earth. So here it is. Noah, he was a perfect and upright man and just, and for them, in the Most High's eyes. So therefore, he saved Noah, but he flooded the earth. He unalived everybody, everyone else, except for Noah's 3 sons, in that flood. And why? Because they were doing their own imaginations. As a matter of fact, verse 5, let me skip up to verse 5. And God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So the Most High have every right to choose a man to deal with. And this is what he did. You know what I'm saying? He chose Noah. He was like, hey, Noah, you a just man. You upright, you perfect. You know what I'm saying? Build me an ark. Build that big old ship, man. And, and Noah did just that, and he followed his commandments. You know what I'm saying? He got the unclean beast and the clean beast. You know what I'm saying? But, and he chose to deal with him. But we're going to go on down the line. Like I said, we're going to talk about the forefathers of Israel. We're going to come and we're going to find out how they came to, through Noah. He started with Noah first because he unalived everybody else. He didn't deal with nobody else. So, let's go ahead and go to Genesis 9. Genesis 9 started at 18. And the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark were Shem and Ham and Japheth. And Ham is the father of Canaan. These are the 3 sons of Noah. And of them was the whole earth overspread. Now you might think, like, how out of 3 men the whole earth was overspread? Now you got to understand something. Before, what? Methuselah was 969 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, when the Most High didn't want to deal with us anymore, he said, what'd he say? I'm not going to deal with man anymore. You know what I'm saying? They only going to live to 120 years old. So this is how they overspread the earth. They were living longer. They were living long. You know what I'm saying? And, the cousins, Shem had sons, you know what I'm saying? And Ham had sons, and Japheth had sons and daughters and what have you. You know what I'm saying? And so the cousins, they were able to come together. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to do it now because, it's so, it's so many people now. You know what I'm saying? Especially from the tribe of Israel, what have you. You're not supposed to deal with other, you're supposed to deal with your own kind in your nation. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to deal with these other nations like the Most High told Solomon. He said, you're going to deal with these other nations. They're going to cause you to worship other gods. And they did just that. And they brought Solomon down. But But this is how they overspread. Those three men overspread the whole earth, because of the time span was greater. They weren't dying, at a young age like we do today. But verse 20, and Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, meaning he was like a farmer, basically a farmer. That's what a husbandman is, right? Verse 21, and he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. Verse 22, and Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his brethren without. Verse 23, and Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness. Verse 24, and Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done unto him. He was, he was acting a fool. Oh, hey, Pop's over there drunk, he naked, doing some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? Verse 25, and he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. Now, Canaan is his grandson, you know what I'm saying? It said Ham was the father of Canaan, right? This is how, upset Noah was with Ham, whatever he did, you know what I'm saying? Looking on his nakedness. You know what I'm saying? He was doing some vile stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was so vile that he cursed the children of Canaan and said they're going to be servants of servants. You know what I'm saying? Servants, shall they be unto their brethren, right? Let's see. Verse 26, and he said, blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. Now we got this word blessed, you know what I'm saying? It's adoration. You know what I'm saying? It's like intense love, devoted love. You know what I'm saying? That's what it means to bless someone. That's what he said. Blessed is the house of Shem. It's Shem, right? You know what I'm saying? And so we gotta take that. We gotta that's key right there. We gotta think about that one right there. You know what I'm saying? So he said, cursed is Canaan, the house of Canaan, and blessed is Shem, because of what Ham did to his father, saw his nakedness. And verse 27, and God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. In Japheth, he didn't get no blessing. He just said, he's going to enlarge him, but he blessed Shem. So we're going to stick with Shem, right? You know what I'm saying? So from Noah, we got Shem. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and get the, find out who Israel's forefathers are, right? So let's go ahead and go to, let's see, verse 10. Chapter 10, verse 22. Chapter 10, verse 22. And it reads, the children of Shem, Elam, and Asher, and Apharxad, and Lud, and Aram. Okay, now Shem, he has 5 sons, right? Shem has 5 sons, but out of those 5 sons, the Most High is only going to deal with one, because like I said, who the Most High is going to deal with he's going to come out of Shem. Okay, he's going to come out of Shem. So out of these 5 sons, Israel's going to come out of one of these 5 sons, eventually, right? Let's drop down to 31, verse 31. These are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their tongues, in their lands, after their nations. These are the families, verse 32. These are the families of the sons of Noah, after their generations, in their nations. And by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. So like I said, Noah's sons, they went ahead and repopulated the earth. This is what they did, So let's go. But remember, we're gonna follow Shem, and then out of Shem, you got, like I said, you got five sons out of Shem, and we're gonna deal with one of these sons. It's lucky, Israel. Let's see. All right. All right, it's lucky. Where did we leave off? So now, like I said, let's go back to Genesis 11. Like, once again, the Most High, he flooded. He told Noah to make an ark because he was done with men. You know what I'm saying? So he flooded them. He flooded the whole earth. He unalived everybody else and kept Shem, Ham, and Japheth alive. Noah's sons, and they repopulated the earth, right? So now let's jump to Genesis 11, because once again, man started. This is after the flood. Man started being wicked again. All right. So this is Genesis 11. Genesis 11, verse 1. And it reads, "And the whole earth was one language and one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar." Verse 4, "And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." Verse 5, "And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people was one, and they had Israel. There's something going on. We have some technical difficulties. Let's try this again. All right. Let's try this again. All right. Where was I? Verse. "And the Lord said, Behold, the people was one, and they have all one language. And this they began to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do." Once again, they started to imagine, they went after their own imaginations and stuff like that, started thinking, their own thoughts, what I'm saying, follow their own heart, right? What I'm saying, they're not at their whole, the Most High. And this imagine right here, if you look it up in the Strong Concordance, it's 2161, it's Zamah, and it means and it's translate heinous crime or mischief. This is what this imagine means right here. So this is what the people, once again, they were doing again. You know what I'm saying? They were being wicked once again. You know, verse 7, go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. Verse 8, so the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Verse 9, therefore is the name of the city of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. You know, Babel means confusion. You know, that's why we call America Babylon, you know, Babylon the Great, because it's a land of confusion. You know what I'm saying? But like, once again, you know, I just want to bring this out, the Tower of Babel right here. You know, man, after the flood, man started being wicked again. You know, and the Most High, you know, sent his angels down, you know what I'm saying? They had them scattered abroad, you know what I'm saying? So they wouldn't deal with each other, you know, they switched up their language or what have you, you know. But I just want to jump through that, just to let you know, let you see that man is, you know, wicked just like we are now. You know what I'm saying? This place is wicked now, you know. We don't want to listen to the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? But let's get back to Shem, the line of Shem, right? Let's go to well, right here. We're gonna stick with Genesis 11, 10, verse 10. This is the line. This is the Shem. This is the Shem to Abram. You know, Abram's name was changed to Abraham. This is Abram right here. This is Shem's line to Abraham, right? Okay. These are the generations. We're not going to read the whole thing. We're going to skip through it. Some of the stuff. Verse 10. This the book of Genesis, chapter 11, verse 10. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad. Now remember, Shem had 5 sons. You know, I forgot their names: Elam, Aram, Lud, and somebody else, and Arphaxad. But this is the lineage right here, the generations of Shem, and he's jumped straight to Arphaxad. This is another. This is the son that the Most High is going to deal with. This is where the seed of Abraham about to come out of. You know, well, Abraham's about to be established out of Arphaxad. All right, so this is Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. Verse 11, and Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. Verse 12, and Arphaxad lived 35 years and begat Salah. Verse 13, and Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. Now we're going to skip. I'm going to skip to 27 because this goes all the way to from Arphaxad, Shem to Arphaxad to Terah. And Terah is Abraham's dad. And Abram's dad, aka Abraham. Okay. And from there, that's 10 from Arphaxad to Terah is 10 generations. You know what I'm saying? That's 10 generations. And that's 20 to 30 years. 20 to 30 years. And so that's 10 with 10 generations, that's 200, 300 years. 200, 300 years. And he's only dealing with one person. You know what I'm saying? Well, 3 at this time is Noah, Shem, and Arphaxad. Arphaxad comes out of Shem. You know what I'm saying? Now we're going to see who he's going to deal with out of Arphaxad after 200, 300 years later. You know what I'm saying? And just think about that. You know what I'm saying? All those years go by. Most High's not dealing with nobody else. He's going to make a covenant with one man. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to say, he's going to tell him that his seed and his seed after him. You know what I'm saying? The seed after him, and so on and so on and so on. You know what I'm saying? He's going to deal with that people. And those people are going to end up being the 12 tribes of Israel. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's not no one big melting pot, all hands, you know, everybody going to come together. You know what I'm saying? This is America. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, the Chinese could come in, the East Indians could come in. No, the Most High is dealing with one people. You know, you already had the flood. You know what I'm saying? He said, man is wicked. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get rid of these people. I'm going to deal with Noah. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, you had the Tower of Babel. You know what I'm saying? He confounded their language. He confused their language. You know what I'm saying? And spread them abroad. You know? Now, he's going to deal with one person. One person. That person is going to be Abraham. We're about to get there right now. This is verse 27. In Genesis 11, verse 27. Like I said, we're going to skip. Now, remember, this is 10 generations from Shem to Terah. Now, verse 27. Now, these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran begat Lot. And Haran died before his father, Terah, in the land of his nativity, in Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai. You know what I'm saying? Now we know Abram about to marry. You know, he's about to marry Sarai. Okay? Whose name is going to be changed to Sarah, right? You know, we're going to find that out later. Let's go to verse 12. We're going to chapter 12. We'll drop down chapter 12 and starting at verse 1. And this is Abraham gets called from the Most High. You know, no one else gets called for the Most High to get a covenant, you know, get the promises or what have you. You know what I'm saying? Only Abraham did. No one else. All right. No Hamite, no Japheth. You know what I'm saying? No other son from Shem. Like I said, Shem had 5 sons and he only dealt with one. He only got one seed out of Shem, which was Farksad. He messed, you know, he dealt with a Farksad. You know, Abraham comes out of a Farksad. Like I said, 200, 300 years later, he comes out of a Farksad, you know. So now, chapter 12, Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Now the Lord has said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. Verse 2. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Now remember, you know, that blessing is great adoration, you know what I'm saying? Intense love for someone, right? You know, and you know, we got to find out why. You know, he said, what did he say? He said, get thee out of thy father's house. You know what I'm saying? So now he wants to deal with Abraham by himself. You know what I'm saying? He needs Abraham. He needs to focus. He needs Abraham to focus on the Most High. So he has to get him up out of his country, out of his father's house. We're going to see why, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's go turn to the book of Joshua. And this is why right here. We're going to turn to the book of Joshua, chapter 24. And starting at verse 2. And Joshua said unto all the people, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time, even Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nahor, and they served other gods. Now we know why the Most High said, hey, Abraham, get from your father's house, get from that country right there. You know what I'm saying? Because they serving other gods. Remember, the Most High is a jealous God. You know what I'm saying? There's no other God before him. You know, there's no other God, period. You know what I'm saying? All those other gods are false. You know what I'm saying? Verse 3. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood and led him throughout all the land of Canaan and multiplied his seed and gave him Isaac. Now we know right there, you know what I'm saying, who's going to come out of Abraham's loins, and that's Isaac. You know, and the Most High is going to deal with Isaac, right? All right. So now let's go to Genesis 15. Now remember, you know, I mean, this is, you know, we sticking with one lineage. You know what I'm saying? Like from Noah, well, we got Noah, Shem, from Shem, we got Arphaxad, because remember, Shem had 5 sons. We got Arphaxad, and then out of Arphaxad came Abraham. You know what I'm saying? And now we're going to find out who comes out of Abraham, who the Most High is going to deal with. You know what I'm saying? His seed, right? So now this is Genesis 15, verse 1. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram, in a vision, saying, fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. Verse 2, and Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus. And verse 3, and Abram said, behold, to me, thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. You know, Abram didn't have a seed yet. You know what I'm saying? And the one that was in his house was one of his servant sons, what have you, Eleazar, what have you. You know what I'm saying? That was his heir, right? But the Most High, this is what the Most High told him. Verse 4, and behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, this shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. Verse 5, and he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward heaven and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. You know, in verse 6, and he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. You know, he thought he believed in the Most High, and everything the Most High said, Abraham said, hey, man, this is straight righteousness. This is upright right here. You know, everything that came out of the Lord's mouth, you know what I'm saying, to Abraham, he counted it as righteousness. You know, verse 7, and he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees to give thee this land to inherit it. You know, so now we know he gonna deal with. He gonna eventually, Abraham's gonna have a seed. You know what I'm saying? We just found out that it's gonna be Isaac. His name's gonna be Isaac in Joshua Joshua 24. You know what I'm saying? So, but the Most High is gonna deal with his seed and seed alone. You know what I'm saying? His seed alone, right? You know what I'm saying? Nobody else seed, no other seed. You know, no Hamite seed, no Hamitic seed, which are the so-called Africans, what have you. You know what I'm saying? No Japhet seeds. You know what I'm saying? Moabites, all kinds of other, you know, other nations out there. You know what I'm saying? He's not dealing with nobody else but one seed, and that's Abraham's seed coming out of his bowels, his loins. You know, don't let the Christian church fool you, man, and think and make you think that God loves everybody. No, that's false. You know, it's a false doctrine right there. They're trying to lead you astray, Israel. You know, so-called Black, Latino, Native American man, woman, and child. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to verse Genesis 17. Let's go to verse 17, starting at 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect. Remember, once again, here we go again. You know, remember he said Noah was perfect and upright and just. You know what I'm saying? But the Christian church will say what? We cannot be perfect. You know, that's what they're saying. You know, the Most High told him, if the Most High telling you could be perfect, even Christ says you could be perfect. Be thou ye perfect. You know what I'm saying? How do you be perfect? Laws, statutes, and commandments. Who the Christian church say their laws are done away with. You know, it's because they are wicked. They are evil. You know what I'm saying? They are taught by a wicked man. They're slave owners. You know, the oppressor. You know what I'm saying? The so-called white man who the devil, who's the devil that the Bible speaks of. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna start at verse 1. Salakia. Verse 2, and I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. Verse 3, and Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, verse 4, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. All right. Verse 5, neither shall thy name anymore be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee. Verse 6, and I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. Verse 7, and I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee, in their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. Not a God unto everybody else, you know what I'm saying, but unto Abraham's seed. That's who he's a God of. You know, all these other nations, they worship and they know the Buddhas, you know, the Shivas, you know what I'm saying? They know the Most High ain't with them. You know, they know the Most High only has one child. You know what I'm saying? And that's the children of Israel. You know, like it says in Exodus 4:22, you know, it's, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, what Abraham had, what, eight sons, 8 sons total. All right, but the Most High only gonna deal with just one son. Okay, you know what I'm saying? One chosen seed, right? Let's go to verse Genesis 24. No, Salaki. Let's go. Let's stay in 17 and go to 15. Start at verse 15. I'm gonna skip that. Verse 15. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 17, verse 15. And God said unto Abraham, as for Sarai, thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. All right. Verse 16. And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Now, you know, Sarah only had one child, one son. You know what I'm saying? So this is a future prophecy that out of that one son, nations are going to come out of this one son. Because Sarah only had one. You know, verse 19, let's skip to 19 right quick. And God says, Sarah, thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. Now we know it's Isaac who's about to deal with. You know what I'm saying? So from what? We have Noah, Shem, Pharsad, Abraham, now Isaac. You know? So and you know, and it says what? For an everlasting covenant. And you know who says you know, Israel are lost? You know what I'm saying? They don't know who the children of Israel is anymore. The Christian church. You know what I'm saying? The powers that be. You know what I'm saying? But the Most High know who his children are. He know where they are. He know they scattered abroad and lost, you know what I'm saying, physically, mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments so we can be not lost anymore, you know? You know, come back to our heritage, our identity, you know what I'm saying, who we are on this earth. You know, we are royalty. You know, we just got to start living upright. Got to have to stop living like the oppressor, man. You know what I'm saying? We ain't no criminals like them, you know? Let them do this wicked stuff, man. Now, let's go ahead and go to, what's that, 16, 19? Let's go to Genesis 24. So now we dealing with Isaac, all right? No one else but Isaac for an everlasting covenant. You know, there's no such thing as being grafted in. You know, the people that was being grafted in was children of Israel. They come from Isaac, you know. But the powers that be, the Christian church, you know, the Catholic church, you know, that white man, the oppressor, you know what I'm saying? He teaches something different. You know, he want to lead our people astray so we can stay lost. But let's go ahead and get it. It's the book of Genesis chapter 24, verse 1. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. Verse 2, and Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house that ruled over all that he had, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh. You know, that's you know, that's not literal, you know what I'm saying? That's a symbolic for, you know, a sacred oath. All right. You know, putting a hand under the thigh, what have you. You know what I'm saying? It was a sacred oath. He's about to make a sacred oath with him. Verse 3, and I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. Verse 4, but thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac. Now, what did we just find out here, man? You know what I'm saying? Abraham right here, you know what he taught? Separation. Man, he said, go to my own kind, man. Take my, you know, have my son marry my own kind. You know, don't go to any other race. You know what I'm saying? Don't go to the Canaanites. You know what I'm saying? But you know, when we teach this, you know, it's all right for Asians to teach it. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's nothing, you know, nothing wrong with them, and there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? But when we say stick with your old kind, they look at us like we crazy. Even the white man want to stay with his own kind. You know what I'm saying? The East Indians, you know, they want to stay with their own kind. You know what I'm saying? And nobody say nothing about it. But when we talk about it, you know what I'm saying? You can only stay in between in the tribes of the so-called Black, Latino, Native American man, woman, and child. You know what I'm saying? You got to stay with your tribes. You know what I'm saying? And we could marry within them tribes. You know, we cannot go out like Solomon, like what Solomon, the Most High told Solomon, hey, don't mess with these other nations. They're going to turn your heart from me. They're going to turn you towards other gods. And that's exactly what these people will do. You know what I'm saying? You get with them, you know, you got, you know, our athletes, man. That's the first thing they do is go with a white woman. You know what I'm saying? Got all these women out here, man. They go to a white woman. You know what I'm saying? You know what they're going to do? They're going to start celebrating all they pagan holidays. You know what I'm saying? Christmas, Easter, you know, Evil Wing, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff, madness, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be hard for them to get up out of that joint, you know? But, you know what I'm saying? We got to, you know, there's nothing wrong with staying with your own kind, man. You know, build your nation, Israel. You know what I'm saying? So-called Black, Latino, Native American man, woman, and child. Okay? So, then, you know, Abraham right here, he taught separation, man. Stick with your own kind. And remember, he said, the Most High, he said everything that the Most High came out of his mouth was righteous. You know what I'm saying? So who's he getting this information from? The Most High. The Most High is showing him all this wisdom. You know, he's learning from the Most High. So the Most High's ways is in Abraham's heart, in his mind. And he said, go get a female from my kindred, man, for my son. And that's exactly what they're about to do. Now let's jump to 24 and Genesis 24, verse 60. We're going to find out who it is right here that Isaac's about to marry. You know, this is verse 60. And they blessed Rebekah. This is Rebekah right here. This is who Moses, Abraham's servant found for him. You know, he went to his kindred and he went and found Rebekah. You know what I'm saying? And they blessed Rebekah, you know, her kindred, you know, her family, you know, before she went off to go see Isaac and marry Isaac, you know, they blessed her before she left. Okay. And they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, thou art our sister. Be thou the mother of thousands, of millions, and let thy seed possess the gate of those that hate them. They already knew. I mean, Israel's not even born yet. They already know we were going to be hated. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they were hating Abraham, because Abraham was upright. You know what I'm saying? Abraham was upright. They was already hating on Abraham. You know, because like I said, the Most High wasn't dealing with nobody else. He was dealing with Abraham. You know, and from Shem all the way to Abraham, it was 300 years. You know what I'm saying? Shem was blessed. Shem was upright. That's why the Most High blessed Shem. You know what I'm saying? And he, like I said, Shem had 5 other sons, but he didn't deal with them. He dealt with Arphaxad. So Arphaxad, obviously, he was upright as well. Because who came out of Arphaxad? Abraham. All right? You know what I'm saying? Although, you know, Terah, you know, Abraham's dad, he was doing some wicked stuff. You know, he was doing wicked stuff. So out of Shem, eventually Abraham came, and Abraham was upright. So he dealt with Abraham, you know. So now he about to deal with Abraham's seed, which is Isaac. And like I said, Abraham had 8 sons total. So he had 7 other sons, and Isaac was the 8th one, right? All right, so let's go ahead and let's go to Genesis 25. Genesis 25. Now we're gonna go to we're gonna jump to Isaac, you know, Abraham's son, right? Isaac's about to have twin boys. All right. So now we go out to jump to Isaac. So now what we got? We got Noah, Shem, Arphaxad, Abraham, now Isaac. Now we're about to go to Isaac's twin boys. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have 2 boys. And out of those 2, only one's going to be chosen from the Most High. All right. So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 19. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old. And when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian, of Padanaram, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. Verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. All right, he prayed to the Father. You know, he prayed to the Father because Rebekah was barren. All right. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children, verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Verse 22. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. Verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. You know, these 2 children are already, you know, the Most High said there are 2 manner of people, you know, 2 nations. You know, yeah, we got those, you know, people that doubt, you know what I'm saying? Even Christians, you know, they'd be like, what? You know, that can't happen. The Most High could do anything he wants. He could put 2 nations of twins in somebody's womb. You know, he could do 4, you know, 4 different nations in one womb. You know what I'm saying? He could do anything he wants, you know? So two nations in that room, and they already struggling. They already fighting. All right, verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Verse 25. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. You know, that's the so-called white man. You ever see a white baby born? He red all over. You know what I'm saying? He red. This is the white man. You know, he had no melanin. Okay. His name is Esau. And at verse 26, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. You know, so now we know Out of these two, the Most High going to deal with one of them, and it's going to be Jacob. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and jump the gun. It's going to be Jacob, but you're going to find that out later on. We're going to get it. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to be Jacob. All right, so let's go to verse 20, chapter 28. It's long. Chapter 28. We're going to be skipping. We stand right here with Jacob, though. You know what I'm saying? We stayed with Isaac. We stayed with Abraham. We stayed with Shem. And we stayed with Noah. You know what I'm saying? We going down the line with Israel's forefathers, right? Okay. Now, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 28, verse 10. 28, verse 10. And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran. And he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place and put them for his pillows and lay down in that place to sleep. Verse 12. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. This is where they get Jacob's ladder. You know what I'm saying? You ever heard of Jacob's ladder? You know what I'm saying? The angels is ascending and descending. This is the dream Jacob was having, right? Verse 13. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham, thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. Verse 14, and thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all families of the earth be blessed. This is what he told Jacob. You know what I'm saying? He said all this, his seed. He's going to deal with his seed and his seed only. Okay? You know what I'm saying? And they're going to be as many as like the dust of the earth. I mean, that's a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? The multitude is great. Will be great. Now let's go ahead and let's go to Genesis 32. Like I said, we're gonna be skipping, but we're gonna stay right on line with Jacob. Like I said, we're gonna find out where Israel comes from and who the Most High is dealing with. He's dealing with Israel and no one else, no other people, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the Christian church, they lying to you, telling you we all gonna be one. Christians, the Asians, the East Indians, the Arabs, the Africans, you know what I'm saying? What have you, all gonna come together as Christians and, give themselves to the Lord. They're gonna be raptured up and all that madness, man, that Christian dogma, man, they be talking about what have, you know what I'm saying? This is God's words right here, and they're not gonna go void, man. He loves the children of Israel. That's it. That's the only people we dealing with is the children of Israel. The 12 lost tribes, man. All right, let's go to Genesis 32. 32 and starting at 24. Once again, we're gonna deal with Jacob. So Jacob wrestled with the angel, right? And this is the book of Genesis, chapter 32, verse 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. Verse 25. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. Verse 26. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. Jacob wanted a blessing. You know what I'm saying? He was over there tussling with that angel, man. All right. Verse 27. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. Verse 28. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with man, and has prevailed. You know what I'm saying? So he changed Jacob's name into Israel, prince of power. You know what I'm saying? Because he has strength with God and with man. You know, and Jacob, you know, which name was turned to Israel, he gonna eventually have 12 sons. You know what I'm saying? The 12 tribes of Israel. You know, and like I said, this is who the Most High's covenant is with, an everlasting covenant to the 12 tribes of Israel. No one else. You know. First, let's go to Genesis 46. Genesis 46. Like I said, we skipping, but we stand, you know, we stand in the story right here, you know. We just skipping though. We're gonna go to Jacob. Now Jacob about to go, Slaki, you know, Jacob / Israel, you know, his name was changed to Israel. Now he has sons. You know, he has sons. We're gonna skip all that, you know. He had Rebecca, Leah, you know, he had other ribs and everything like that. And he got 12, he has established 12 sons out of him, right? You know what I'm saying? One of his sons, Joseph, ended up going to Egypt. He was sold into slavery, you know what I'm saying, by his brothers, because his brothers was hating on him and shit. You know, but you know, it is all the Most High is doing though, you know, when it comes down to it. So Joseph, he finds out, you know what I'm saying, Jacob / Israel, Jacob finds out Joseph is alive, you know, because he for the longest time he thought Joseph was dead. But you know, his brethren, you know, they had a famine in the land, so Egypt was the only one that had wheat, you know, provisions, what have you. And so they came and they found out that Joseph was still alive. So they sent Joseph, had them go and get Jacob, his father, because he haven't seen him in years, you know, what have you. But so now Israel about to go all the way to Egypt. They're about to go into Egypt. All right. So this is Genesis 46. Genesis chapter 46, verse 1. And Israel took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices unto the God of his father Isaac. And God spake unto Israel in the visions of the night and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, here am I. Verse 3. And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation. You know what I'm saying? So now he's about to get his family, and they about to go down to Egypt. All right. So now we're about to skip to let's go to verse 26. And all the souls, this is verse 26, all the souls that came with Jacob into Egypt, which came out of his loins, besides Jacob's sons, wives, all the souls were 66. Verse 27, and the sons of Joseph, which were born him in Egypt, were 2 souls. All the souls of the house of Jacob, which came into Egypt, was 70. Three score is a score is 20, so that's in 10. There's 3 of them, so that's 70. 70 souls came into Egypt. All right. So now let's go to Exodus. Now we're about to find out what happened to. So now we went through Genesis. You know, we broke Genesis from Genesis chapter 6 all the way to 46. You know what I'm saying? So from Noah all the way to Jacob, which name was turned into Israel. So now we're gonna go to Exodus and see what's gonna befall on Israel when they came into Exodus. Egypt. We're gonna read Exodus chapter 1. Starting Exodus chapter 1. We're going to read from 1 to 22. And it reads, now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. Verse 5. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. Verse 6, and Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all the generation, and the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding great mighty. And the land was filled with them. All right. Remember, in Genesis 15, it said he asked Abraham, would you be able to number the stars? That's how great your nation, your people are going to be. Israel's going to be. You know what I'm saying? And like the dust of the earth and what have you, they're going to multiply. And they multiply, the generations of Joseph and his brethren and all them, they left, they died, they passed away. And now there's a new generation. They became great and multiplied. They were fruitful in Egypt. And this is what the king said right here of Egypt. Now, since Joseph's gone, there's a new king that arose. Okay. Verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And verse 9. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. This is what he said. Verse 10, come and let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us. And so get them up out of the land. Verse 11, therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses. Here it is. They put taskmasters over the children of Israel. When we were brought into slavery, what they used to call them? Overseers. You know what I'm saying? Now they're known as officers. You know what I'm saying? That, they unalive us out there in the streets, unjustly, right? You know what I'm saying? But the taskmaster turned into overseer, and the overseer turned into officers. Ain't nothing new under the sun. All right. Verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of them, of the children of Israel. Verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. Verse 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. This is what they do. They crafty with the work. When it comes to the children of Israel, they took our fathers out of the household. Put us on, took jobs away from us. They made our lives hard. Put our women on welfare. You couldn't even have a man in the house. If you wanted to get welfare and what have so the kids couldn't even have a father in the house to raise them. A son couldn't have a father to raise him up like a man. A little girl didn't have a father in the house to protect her. This is what they did. They real crafty, man. These other nations are. And this is how they were with us. And this is how they are with us. But verse 15, and the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. Okay. And so like in verse 16. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him, unalive him, slaughter him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. Once again, like I said, this is back then, this is what you call this, abortion. This is all this is, right? You know what I'm saying? Now today, you know, I mean, you know, from the 1970s, the so-called black woman, you know what I'm saying? 19 million from the 1970s to now, 19 million babies were aborted. You know, that's the statistics. You know what I'm saying? Since 1970s. You know what I'm saying? The Latino women, you know what I'm saying? In 2020, it was, you know, the babies that were aborted was 195,000. You know what I'm saying? So ain't nothing new under the sun. This is how they do it. And why do we abort our kids? You know what I'm saying? Because of poor family structure. Why do we have poor family structure? Because of the white man, the devil that the Bible speak of, man. It's not because of us, man. Talk about hold ourselves accountable and shit like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Look at what they did. How about you let us, you know what I'm saying? You know, I can see if we, you know, nobody tried to hinder us. Nobody oppressed us. You know what I'm saying? I can see if, you know, nobody had a hand in our, you know, I mean, let's just hypothetical. You know what I'm saying? Nobody dealt with us at all. And we at this state that we in. We base as a people. You know what I'm saying? And I now, yeah, I can see that. I will take accountability. Accountability. You know what I'm saying? But we had these white folks had a hand in our demise, man. Our oppression, right? You know what I'm saying? These atrocities, right? You know what I'm saying? And they talk about lace ourselves up by the bootstrap. They should have left us alone. But they know if they leave us alone, man, we will multiply like they did right here. So they tried to do every little thing to hinder us. You know what I'm saying? And what they did today, these days, they took jobs away from us. And wondering why we at every corner, man, like bulls, man, unaliving one another. You know? Like the Scriptures 83 says, you know, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. You know what I'm saying? They're the one that said Israel no more. You know what I'm saying? They don't know who these nations are. Yeah, they know who they are. You know, but yeah, they let's go ahead and get going. You know, so yeah, but like I said, there's a reason why we at the state we are and why we unalive our kids, man, with abortions, right? Because of poor family structure. And that's because of white man, not because of ourselves, man. You know what I'm saying? Verse 16, Slaki. Verse 17. But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. Verse 18. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing and have saved the men children alive? Verse 19. And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered the midwives come in unto them. You know what I'm saying? Lively mean they will squat. They will get down. They ain't messing around. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know this is so-called Black, Latino, Native American man, woman, women. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no man, ain't no Jewish, because the Egyptians back then they was black, man. They was Hamites. You know what I'm saying? They are not what you see now in Egypt, man. You know what I'm saying? Those are Arabs and, you know, a mixture of Edomites and what have you. You know what I'm saying? Those are not the original Hamites, Hamitic people. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the Hamitic tribes, they get down. The Zulu tribes, they fought the British army, right? And they fought them with spears and beat them. You know what I'm saying? So you know these Hebrew women, these are sisters, man. You know what I'm saying? They said they more lively. They ain't like the Egyptian women. They fight. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know this ain't. Think about it. What Jewish woman, a white woman, gonna get down like that with some Egyptian African Hamites? Yeah, right. I would like to see that. You know what I'm saying? Let's pick any Hamite nation out there. You know what I'm saying? And put them up against a Jewish woman. You know what I'm saying? Just your average woman. Not no fighters. You know what I'm saying? Just average woman. I'll put my money on a Hamite, man. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line. I'll put my money on a Hamite. That's how you know these are sisters right here. He said they are more lively than the Egyptians. They'll whoop your tail, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what that means. You look that word up, lively, right here, man. Go get you a strong concordance and look these words up. You know, in the Hebrew, it's lively, man. It's I forgot the word, but you know, they will squad, they'll fight, you know. But let's go ahead and get verse 20. Therefore, God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. Because you can't go against the Most High, man. This is the Most High's will, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why they keep multiplying as well. And that's why we're still here to this day. You know? Verse 21. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. Verse 22. And Pharaoh charged all the people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. You know, and this is, you know, once again, you know what I'm saying? This is, you know, the wickedness of these other nations, man. You know what I'm saying? These wickedness of the other nations. And the Egyptians here, you know, let's get it real quick. And so you know that these are these Egyptians aren't no Arabs or what have you. You know what I'm saying? What you think that are, you know, Egyptians today. They're not Egyptians. Those are, you know, they took over the land. The real Egyptians fled out of there. They fled out of there into Africa, deeper into Africa. You know what I'm saying? But look, you know, and this is why Abraham taught separation too. He didn't want his son to marry a Canaanite because he knows they're related to the Egyptians. You know what I'm saying? They're brethren. You know, those are the children of Ham. You know, they're cousins, brothers, what have you. You know, and we're gonna get it out of the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. You know, this is the book of this is Ham. This is the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. This is Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, who we're talking about right now, Pharaoh, Ethiopians, all melanated people, right? The Libyans and the Canaanites, right? You know what I'm saying? And the Canaanites, which was cursed. You know, these are the children of Ham. And through these children, they had a bunch of tribes, man. You know what I'm saying? You got the Zulu tribe that came out of it. You know what I'm saying? The Nigerians and, you know, all kinds of tribes, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I said, you know, these women right here, these were sisters, man. That's why I said they were lively. They're not like these Egyptians. You know what I'm saying? They'll whoop your tail. You know, let's go ahead and now. So we're done with that. So we went from Genesis, you know what I'm saying, to Exodus, you know, and then you got what? After Exodus, you got the Leviticus, you got the law. These are the 5 books, right? The 5 books of Moses is what? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, right? You know, so Genesis, we dealt with Genesis. We saw that the Most High dealt with Noah, dealt with Shem, dealt with Abraham, dealt with Isaac, and then dealt with Jacob, which name was changed to Israel. And then he dealt with Israel, right? You know, and you know, after Exodus, you got, you know, they went into Egypt, and then they, you know, what they did to Pharaoh, you know what I'm saying, to his whole little crew, you know what I'm saying, he parted the Red Sea, and he, you know, boom, unalived all them fools, you know what I'm saying. And then you got Leviticus, now he telling Moses to give the children of Israel the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what Leviticus is about. You know what I'm saying? You can find all the laws in there. You know, who the Christian church say the laws are done away with, you know, because they're a man, and man is wicked and foolish, vain, you know. But then after Leviticus, you got what? Numbers. You know, you got now they into the wilderness, what have you. They ain't dealing with nobody else. And while they're doing all this, they fighting who? Other nations. And these nations are still here, just like Israel is still here. You know what I'm saying? But then Deuteronomy, you got Deuteronomy. That's when the Most High said, hey, man, y'all gonna go off and y'all gonna end up, you know, Deuteronomy 28 to 68, y'all gonna go into captivity again in ships. And here we are now, you know, but we're gonna turn to the book of Romans right quick, because, you know, the Christian church, you know, how they deceive many, you know, they go to, they disregard what Christ said. Christ says what? I am not sent, but only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. This is what he says. You know what I'm saying? He says, what he say? They say God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, right? But 17:9, he said, I pray for them, I pray not for the world. That's what Christ said. You know what I'm saying? So somebody getting something mixed up here. And I know who the somebody is. It's the white man, the devil that the Bible speak of. You know what I'm saying? The white man deceiving the whole world. You know, that Christian church, man. If you think about it, Israel, you know, if you think you a Christian, man, you was taught by your slave masters, man. Who were you before you was African American, Afro American, colored, Negro? You know what I'm saying? All these bywords, you know what I'm saying? They gave you whatever. You know, I mean, you got to think about that, man. Your oppressor gave you religion, man, gave you Christianity. You know, but like I said, Most High, Christ said, I'm not sent but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You know what I'm saying? I pray for them, I pray not for the world. So you got to get context, man. There's context in these words, man, and these scriptures. Well, let's go ahead and get it. Let's go ahead and get it. Go to Romans. Because like I said, they disregard what Christ say and they go to Paul. Because Paul, what? Because Christ told Paul saw him in a vision, right? Paul saw Christ in a vision, and Christ told him to go to the Gentiles. Now the Gentiles can come back, but these Gentiles who Christ was talking about are the people living their Israel, you know what I'm saying? But they're living like Gentiles now. They're living like heathens now. You know what I'm saying? But now they're able to repent. They're able to come back, But the Christian church, like I said, they will have you to believe that it's Italians, you know what I'm saying? It's, Asians or what have you. You know what I'm saying? There's neither Jew nor Greek. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff, all that bogus stuff they be talking about, man. But we about to break it down, man, that who Paul was talking to, man. He wasn't talking to no Italian people. You know what I'm saying? He was talking to Gentiles, man, to Israelites who became Gentiles. Because even in let's go to real quick, Matthew 18, man. Let's go to Matthew 18. Let's break it down like this, man. I think it's Matthew 18, right? Matthew 18. Check it out what Christ says, man. Look. Now this is Matthew 18, chapter 18, starting at verse 15. This is what Christ said. It's all written in red. This is Christ speaking. Moreover, verse 15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. Remember, he said his brother, his brethren. You know what I'm saying? Like Abraham said, you know what I'm saying? Go to my kindred. You know what I'm saying? Go to my own kind. Okay? If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. Verse 16. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of two or three witnesses every word may be established. This is what Christ is saying. Verse 17. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church, unto the congregation. That's who he's talking to. But if he neglect to hear the congregation, the church, congregation, let him be unto thee as an heathen man. That's what it said. And you look up that word heathen, the heathen means Gentile. That's what it means. Heathen, Gentile means heathen. Heathen means Gentile. That's what it means. So he told Paul. He said, "Man, go to the Gentiles and tell them they can be grafted back in. They can repent, man. They could come back." You know what I'm saying? Paul did just that, man. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna break this down. There's one thing that I like. Paul, this is what Paul says, man. He liked to say, for where it is written. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So this is the book of Romans chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. You know, this that you know he okay. They were they're in Jerusalem right now, right? You know, wherever Paul is, you know, because the Romans they have control over Jerusalem right now. So they even, you know, we are in captivity once again. You know what I'm saying? We so much so that it was against the law to speak the Hebrew tongue. Now they're speaking Greek. That's why the Second Testament, you know what I'm saying, the New Testament, that's the man calls it, the New Testament is written in Greek. You know what I'm saying? When you read it, when you break it down, you know, it's strong concordance, you have to go to the Greek words, you know what I'm saying, to break everything down. It's written, that's why the New Testament is written in Greek. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to speak Greek now, you know. So now, Paul is speaking to, you know, he said, what? For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. What was written in the past was written for our learning. Now, if he's talking to, let's say, Italians, because that's who's, you know, over us right now, the Romans, that's who's over us right now. If I'm Italian, what does that have? You know, it's, you know, oh, okay. So in the past, everything was written for my learning. You know what I'm saying? If I'm Italian, like, it doesn't make sense, man. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna get it. We're gonna go further into this, right? And you know, and what else? Damn. Let's go to Romans chapter 2. Let's go to Romans chapter 2. Remember, you know, Paul says, as it is written. You know, he says that, right? Now, this is this is hypothetical, you know, let's just say I'm, you know, Paul supposedly, you know, he writing letters to Gentiles. You know, remember, they think Cornelius was an Italian. You know what I'm saying? They think he was an Italian, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's just say, you know, he's writing to the Gentiles. He's talking to the Gentiles. These Gentiles are Italians because, you know, especially, a so-called black man, Latino man, you know what I'm saying, when a native man, when we always, you know, talk about the wickedness of the other nations and stuff like that, they always say, what about the white man? What about the white woman? You know, as if there's no other. Why don't you ever say Chinese? What about the Chinese man? What about the Chinese woman? You know what I'm saying? They always want to go to save their oppressor. You know, Stockholm syndrome. That's why. You know what I'm saying? But they don't say nothing about the East Indians. They always say, y'all teaching hate. Y'all teaching hate. What about the white people? That's the first thing they say, man. So we're going to stick with the white man. Let's just stick with the white man right here. These are Italian, man, because, you know, remember, these are the Romans. It's Paul wrote the book of Romans, right? He's dealing with Italian people. We're going to stick with the Italian people. We ain't sticking with no Asians. You know what I'm saying? We ain't sticking with no East Indians. You know, we're going to keep it very simple. Very simple. So now, he's writing to, you know, or talking to Italians right now, right? Now, let's verse where we at? Verse 24. For the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written. Now, he said the name of the Most High is blasphemed through the Gentiles, through you. Who is the you? Israel. So the Gentiles got to be the other nations, right? You know what I'm saying? You blaspheming the Most High's name amongst the Gentiles through you, as it is written. Where was it written at? Let's go to Ezekiel, the book of Ezekiel, right? This is where he got it from. Remember, it's blasphemed. Ezekiel 36, as it is written. Now, you know, as it is written. Let's say, you know, they having Bible study. You know what I'm saying? Paul's over here teaching the Italians, you know, they all over there, you know, they want to be Christians and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? He's teaching, Hey, Paul, where's it written at? Oh, let me go ahead and tell you. Let me show you. It's in Ezekiel. You know what I'm saying? Come on, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Verse 20. We're gonna start at this is the book of Ezekiel 36 and 20. And when they entered unto the heathen, started off calling them heathen. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about you, but I don't want to be no heathen. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, if they, okay, maybe Paul didn't say heathen, maybe he said Gentile. Maybe, he didn't when he read this part. I don't know. And they were dispersed through the countries according to their way and according to their doings. I judged them. So the Most High had spread them about, you know what I'm saying, because of what they were doing. He spread them. He spread Israel amongst the heathens. You know what I'm saying? Verse 20. And when they entered unto the heathen, whither they went. Oh, Salakia. Did I read that whole thing? These are the people of the. Yeah, my bad. Let's start it from top. Verse 20. And when they entered unto the heathen, whither they went, they profaned my holy name. When they said to them, these are the people of the Lord and are gone forth out of his land. They even know who they were. They said, hey, these are the heathens. That's saying this. They're saying, hey, these are the people of the Lord right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Lord ain't messing with them anymore. Now they all scattered and stuff like that. We gonna treat them the way we gonna treat them. So they was upset. Israel was upset and blasphemed the Most High's name. You know what I'm saying? They knew he was gone. They were gone out of their land and everything, man. Verse 21. But I had pity for my name. This is Most High saying this, right? Mine holy name, which the house of Israel had profaned among the heathen, whither they went. Verse 22. Therefore say unto the house of Israel, the house of everybody, the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord God, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for mine holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen, whither ye went. Verse 23. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen. I mean, that's heathen. He keep calling them heathen, right? Which ye have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, saith the Lord God, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. And here it is. Here's the kicker right here. Verse 24. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries and will bring you into your own land. Now, he just said he about to take them from the heathen. Now, if I'm Italian and Paul's speaking this to me, I'm going to be like, hold up. Paul, it just said that God is going to take Israel from the heathen. Isn't heathens are Gentiles, right? Because they learn it. Christ told them to go teach the Gentiles who are to the Christians, Italians, the other nations. You know what I'm saying? See how it doesn't make sense? This is how they fooled us, Israel. You know what I'm saying? With Paul, man, with this Gentile stuff. That's why you have to come into the ISBK and learn, But, it doesn't make any sense. But we're gonna get some more, man. We're going to get some more. Let's go to, let's skip that. Let's go to Romans 9. Romans 9. Because remember, remember that Rebecca had twin boys, right? One was named, the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And another one, Jacob, Esau, then you had Jacob. Remember, and the Most High dealt with Jacob. Most High gave Jacob a dream, Jacob's ladder, right? He didn't give Esau a dream. We keep it very simple, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the powers that be, the Christian church, the Catholic church, they have lied to you. Taught you false doctrine. They call, well, yeah, doctrine. You know what I'm saying? Fundamental. Y'all learning doctrine. Just stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to Romans 9 and 13. I mean, you can't get around this right here, man. And as it is written, Paul, love Paul for saying this, as it is written. Now, once again, you're Italian. You know what I'm saying? You're Italian. At this time, let's say, because they say Esau, they don't know who Esau is. Esau's still around right here. Esau's still around. You know what I'm saying? Right here, he's still around. Israel's still around. Esau's still around. They were both born the same time. You know what I'm saying? Jacob and Esau, right? Esau, Edom, the Edomites are still here, along with Esau, Salaki, with Israel. You know what I'm saying? The 12 tribes. Okay, they still here, and they still here today. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Now, as it is written, we got to find out where was it written. Now, remember, Paul is teaching Italians. He's teaching Italians, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's go to Malachi, the book of Malachi. That's where it's written. All right. Like I said, you know what I'm saying? This stuff does not make sense, man. You know, that's how you know he was talking to Israelites that became Gentiles, man. They were living wicked. They started doing the customs of the heathen. You know what I'm saying? Just like it's stated in Ezekiel 36, heathens. You know what I'm saying? They started living like heathens. What Christ said in Matthew 18, if you don't want to listen, if that brother don't want to listen, let him be as a heathen. That's what he said. Come on now. Play connect the dots, man. Put this puzzle together. You know what I'm saying? We make it make sense. But let's see. This is the book of Malachi. Like I said, Paul said, where it is written. Remember, he said, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. All right. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. Verse 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Saith the Lord. Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and I laid his mountains and his heritage waste, for the dragons of the wilderness. Verse 4, whereas Edom saith, Edom is Esau, okay? We are impoverished, but we will return. This is the pride of the so-called white man, Edom, Esau. We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness. What is America? Straight wicked. Straight wicked. Wherever you have the white man, it's straight wickedness. You know what I'm saying? This is how you know who Esau is, man. Just follow the wicked. You know what I'm saying? That's all you got to do. Epstein Islands, you know what I'm saying? What have you? You know, America itself, you know, Frisco, new Sodom and Gomorrah, this, you know, this is spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, spiritual Egypt, which means the land of bondage, which means bondage. You know what I'm saying? This is the place of wickedness right here, man. And the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. You know, he hate these people forever. And you know, the church, you go into any Christian church and be like, hey, who's Esau? We don't know. Most High knows. Because he has indignation for them forever. He hates them forever. You know what I'm saying? Read the book of Obadiah. You know what I'm saying? Even Isaiah 63. You know what I'm saying? They talk, it's Christ. It's about Christ. They said, where are you coming from, man? Look like your garments dipped in blood. He said, I'm coming from Edom. This is what he going to do when he come. Did he not say, I'm coming with a sword? You know what I'm saying? Matthew 10:34. Think not I'm coming to send peace, but a sword. He know who Edom is too, because Edom's still here. You know? Edom's still here, man. But let's go ahead and get some more of this, man. Well, that's it. You know, once again, you know, let's go to Romans 11. because, like I said, they go to Paul, man. Paul. You go to a Christian church, they open up a book, Paul. I know because I used to go to church. You know what I'm saying? They go to Paul. And they don't even read, they read something, but they go to Paul 24/7, man. Paul. You know what I'm saying? Because the Gentiles, they leading our people astray, man, with this false word, man, that they teach, man. Talking about the Gentiles or other nations, man. Come on, man. Let's go ahead and go to Romans chapter 11. This is Romans chapter 11, verse 26. Because like I said, what? Paul says what? As it is written. You know what I'm saying? So once again, if I'm Italian, you know what I'm saying, Edomite, like I said, we ain't even gonna stick with, we ain't even gonna mention the other nations. But we over here in Rome, we in Jerusalem, the Romans, they occupying, they ruling, Jerusalem, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, they think what's his name? Cornelius is Italian. You know what I'm saying? No, he was just in an Italian band. He was in an Italian army, man. You know what I'm saying? Do you not have black folks in the American army? Ain't nothing new under the sun, man. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't segregating back then like that, man. They was rolling. They was just, hey, you want to be in this army? Woo, woo. They was fighting. They was just fighting. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, I mean, you still had haters and stuff like that. What have you? You know what I'm saying? Haters gonna hate. It wasn't until they got over here until they actually did that whole, black and white thing. You know what I'm saying? White is pure and shit, and black is bad, and doing all that crazy stuff, man. Like the scripture said, man, they crafty. They have crafty counsel against thy people. They took us far from our borders, so we could forget who we are. You know what I'm saying? Forget our heritage, our identity. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. Now, verse 11, it's like Romans chapter 11, verse 26. And as all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, when all Israel shall be saved, not no Italian, not no the Romans. You know what I'm saying? All Israel shall be saved. Now, Paul's teaching the class, and he teaching Christians, Italians, they up in there, Gentiles. You know what I'm saying? All Israel shall be saved. They're gonna be like, what? Hey, what about us? You know what I'm saying? What about us? When you ask that, it's just like like let's say, let me see. It's common sense, man. It's like let's say the Black Panthers, man. Like the leader of Black Panthers, Pee Newton, whatever, I forgot his name. You know what I'm saying? Look, let's say they go to where's it, Mount Rushmore? You know what I'm saying? Where the white men are, right? You know what I'm saying? He giving a speech to all the Black Panthers, and he had turned around and be like, our forefathers said, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna look at this nigga like he dumb, like, what are you talking about, our forefathers? You know what I'm saying? You see, that's why he said, Israel shall be saved. They're gonna be like, what the hell are we doing here then? Israel shall be saved. What about us, Paul? You know what I'm saying? Huey Pew Newton. You know what I'm saying? Pew Newton. I forgot his name. Damn. You know what I'm saying? But that's the only comparison I had. Some crazy shit, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, we, you know what I'm saying? Black Panther, you know what I'm saying? Our forefathers at Mount Rushmore. Got these white men right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. You got to make this shit make sense, man. But like I said, let's take it from the top. Verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, all Israel shall be saved. There shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. Why does he have to turn ungodliness from Jacob? Because when you're amongst these other nations, they're going to turn your heart away from God, man. They're going to cause you to celebrate Easter. They're going to cause you to celebrate Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? Christmas, bringing a Christmas tree in your house, man. You know what I'm saying? Some ridiculous things, man. Evil ween, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, you know, this is what they do, man. It was hard for Israel to practice their laws, man. You know what I'm saying? When they were amongst these nations. Why you think he told Abraham to get away from his father's house? Because he was over there with the Hamites praising their gods, man, worship their gods. You read in the scriptures, it was hard for Israel to keep their laws, statutes, and commandments when they were amongst other nations. That's one reason why we had a king. We weren't supposed to have a king. We had priests, Levites and what have you. But the children of Israel, they wanted a king. They wanted to be like, because the other nations had kings. And what did the Most High say? He said, man, all right, go ahead, Samuel, give him a king. You know what I'm saying? But this king, he gonna get your kids. He gonna put them in the military. He gonna do this. He gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? And he ended up being, the Most High turned from him. And then that's when King David came, right? You know what I'm saying? But we want to try to be like the other nations, man. Which we do now to this day. You know what I'm saying? We try to, sell drugs like the white men, be gangsters like the white men. You know what I'm saying? Do all kinds of wickedness like the white man, man. Whoremongering, whores and shit. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of stuff like that. Now that's for the wicked, man. You know what I'm saying? That's for the wicked. And that's why they oppressed you, man. So you could turn to being wicked, man. You know what I'm saying? Putting drugs in our communities and stuff like that, taking jobs away from us. And that, of course, we're gonna turn to them drugs and we're gonna start selling them. That's what happened. We got to wake up, Israel. It was a crafty counsel against God's chosen people, man. And this is what they did, man. And now we are the face of crime. We are the face of crime. Like we come right out of the womb, just want to unalive each other, man. This is what we live for. This is what we want to do. Now we were oppressed, man. We are oppressed as a people, and we are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, man. You know what I'm saying? And we trying to be like the oppressor. We trying to worship the oppressors' gods, because that's what it is. They have multiple gods, man. You know what I'm saying? Israel have one only Most High, man. One only Father, Yahweh. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's who we're supposed to worship, not these other gods, man. Celebrating they pagan holidays. You know what I'm saying? They're not even holy. That's what holiday means, right? But like he said, where it's written, let's go see where it's written at. Let's take it from the top. Verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written. There shall come out of Zion. Zion is another word for Israel, the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. You know what I'm saying? Where do you say that at, man? Psalms. Let's go to Psalms. Psalms verse 7. Psalms 14, verse 7. Remember, he said, as it is written. All right. This is Psalms 14, verse 7. Oh, that salvation of Israel were come out of Zion. When the Lord bringeth back the captivity, bring us out of captivity. That's what that means. Bring us back to captivity. He's going to bring us out of captivity. Of his people, Jacob shall rejoice. We shall rejoice when we get out of this captivity. You know what I'm saying? And Israel shall be glad, and we shall be glad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when the Italians heard this, when Paul read this, were they jumping up rejoicing? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We're going to rejoice. We're going to be glad. You know what I'm saying? They're going to look at Paul like, this has nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line, this has nothing to do with us. It's crazy. Like I said, it does not make sense, man. We have been lied to by the Christian church. Black, Latino, Native American, you have been lied to. Let's go ahead and get some more of this. Let's go to Romans 8. Let's go to Romans 8, man. Back with Esau too, man. Like, that's another thing, because I've seen it. This another thing they teach You know, the Christian church, because they're real slick, man. They're real slick. They teach that Jacob stole Esau's birthright. Like they disregard, because that's what they do anyways. They disregard the other scriptures. You know what I'm saying? First of all, the Most High came to Rebekah and told her to tell Jacob, you know what I'm saying, told Rebekah, the Most High told Rebekah to tell Jacob to do that. You know what I'm saying? He told Rebekah to tell Jacob to go ahead and get that birthright, man. The Most High set that whole thing up, but they just skipped that and said Jacob stole Esau's birthright. Why you care about Esau so much? I heard one pastor said, man, he sold his birthright for baked beans, because remember it said pottage, right? Red pottage. He said, and put emphasis. And a lot of people, this goes over a lot of people's head. He said that same red pottage right there, you know, and because in Hebrews 16, I think it is, Hebrews somewhere 12, it said he sold his birthright for one morsel of meat. So in that pottage, there was meat in there as well. You know what I'm saying? And that meat, and that's why I said red, because that meat was still bloody. You know, Esau, the so-called white man, like he's meat bloody, like his prophecy, this Bible prophecy, man. You know what I'm saying? The Most High laid out a whole blueprint of who all these people are, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. He said, let me get that. I'm tired. Let me get that same red pottage right there. That same red pottage right there. I mean, there was still blood in that meat, man. You know what I'm saying? But they gonna sit up there and say, oh, Jacob, they put emphasis on Jacob stole the birthright, man. Like, why are you protecting Esau? We just read in Malachi, it said the Most High had everlasting indignation with Esau. Why do you care about saving Esau, man? Or what Jacob did to Esau? Like the comprehension skills just went down, man. Right? No, because they know who it's the spirit. That spirit came out. Because they know Esau is the white man. Who created Christianity? The white man. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they sit up there and talk about Esau like that and Jacob like that. Talk about Jacob stole Esau's birthright. Ain't that something, man? Like, who cares if he did? You know what I'm saying? And Hebrews, it said Esau is a fornicator. Like, who the Most High said this? You know what I'm saying? He said he's a fornicator. Straight up. Crazy, man. That's what I want to bring out with Esau, man. You know what I'm saying? Vile beasts. That's what they are. Cowards. Romans, was it the book of Romans, chapter 8? Book of Romans, chapter 8, 8 and 36. As it is written, verse 36, as it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Once again, he talking to Italians, right? Oh, and because the Christians, after everything, all the scriptures we read, they would disregard this too. They'd be like, see, they forget everything we just talked about. You know what I'm saying? That the Christ is only sent for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. They forget about that. You know what I'm saying? They forget about Most High calling as it is written, and going back to Ezekiel and stuff like that, whatever, calling them heathens. You know what I'm saying? Salvation shall be for Israel. They will disregard all this. They would disregard all this stuff, man. And like I said, as it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. See, we Christians, we getting killed too. You know what I'm saying? These white folks are getting killed. They start teaching that. See, and they just go blank and start saying something like that, man, because they disregard. But like I said, though, but if they're back in Paul's days, and he's talking like this, he's saying, we are killed all the day long, right? You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be like, yeah, we ain't being killed all the day long. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be like, man, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? As it is written. Now, if I'm Italian, I'll be like, hey, okay, well, we're not being unalive all day long, counted for sheep for the slaughter. So, okay, but anyways, where's it written at? Now I want to go see where it's written. Man, I would have been going out of class a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Because this is not for me. It is not for me. Just like the white man's constitution isn't for the black people, Latino people, Native people. You know what I'm saying? We were all enslaved when the Constitution was written, right? And created, what have you. You know what I'm saying? So let's go find out where it was written at, man. This is let's go to Psalms 44. As it is written, right? Counted for the sheep for the slaughter, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I would have been there. I'm Italian. I would have been there and walked out. Like, man, this ain't for me. You know? And let's just say Israel, you know, the real Israelites, you know what I'm saying? They're in the class, you know, wherever they're at. Paul's teaching the Italians. They're gonna be uncomfortable, man. They're gonna be like looking around and shit. Because who's doing the unaliving? Their people. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they don't want them to worship their law, statutes, and commandments. It's been going on like this from the beginning of time with these heathens. You know what I'm saying? We have multiple other nations trying to tear us up, man. You know? But let's go to as it is written. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna read from Psalms 44. Starting at 1. We're gonna read all the way to 26. Because this is real important. You know what I'm saying? As it is written. So we're gonna get the whole breakdown of this right here. We have heard with our ears, and this is King David saying this, right? He wrote this. We have heard with our ears, O God, our fathers have told us what work thou didst in their days, in the times of old, how thou didst drive out the heathen. He did what? He drove out the heathen. You know what I'm saying? Now Paul's reading this to Italians. He drove out the heathen with thy hand and plantedest them. How thou didst afflict the people and cast them out. Verse 3. For they got not the land in possession by their own sword, neither did their own arm save them, but thy right hand and thine arm and the light of thy countenance, because thou hast a favor unto them. He said, you know, Israel didn't, you know, fight the heathen and get out of the position that they were in. The Most High helped them. The Most High, it was them. It was the Most High that helped them get out of the position that they were amongst the heathens. You know what I'm saying? Verse 4. Thou art my king. Oh, thou art my king, oh God. Command deliverance for Jacob. He said, command deliverance. We need to be delivered out of the hands of who? The heathen. All right. Command deliverance from Jacob, for Jacob. Verse 5. Through thee, we will push down our enemies. Through thy name, we will tread them under that rise up against us. Verse 6, for I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. Verse 7, but thou hast saved us from our enemies and hast put them to shame that hated us. Verse 8, in God we boast all the day long and praise thy name forever. Selah. All right. Verse 9, but thou hast cast off, and put us to shame, and goest not forth with our armies. Why? Because we started doing wicked again. We started being wicked. And these other nations, they knew this. They knew anytime they said, hey, these are the people right here, you know what I'm saying? They got Most High cast them out of their land. They knew exactly who we were. They know who we are. You know what I'm saying? Verse 10, thou makest us to turn back from the enemy, and they which hate us spoil for themselves. Verse 11, thou hast given us like sheep appointed for meat, and hast scattered us among the heathen. Verse 12, thou sellest thy people for naught, and dost not increase thy wealth by their price. You know, you heard of the auction blocks. You know what I'm saying? Who was on auction blocks? Yeah, think about that, right? Verse 13, thou makest us a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and a derision. Verse 14, thou makest us a byword among the heathen, a shaking of the head among the people. I mean, like, really, you know, look. Let's take the Asians, for instance. You know what I'm saying? Surely when they come around their table, man, you know what I'm saying? I mean, whoever's selling the hair products, you know what I'm saying? I just found out they make 1.1 billion annually from black people. You know, they shaking their heads like, those people are pretty dumb. Like, we making hair products, fake hair, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Even barrettes, whatever. They come to us and buy this shit. And we making $1.1 billion off of these dummies. Y'all can be doing this yourselves, man. Crazy. And that's why they shaking their head at their table like, man, look at this. Look how good. Sending their kids to college while we sending our kids to the grave at an early age. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. We are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, and we're going to stay destroyed, man. If you don't want to listen to these laws, statutes, and commandments, you know what I'm saying? Wake up out there, Israel. Come on now. You got to see this. You got to see that these other nations are devouring us. Bottom line, look at our athletes, man. You know, they try to stand up for our people. They say, shut up, nigga. Just throw that ball. Shoot that ball. Run on that track, nigga. Shut up. They've been saying this from the beginning of the time. Remember, they threw Muhammad Ali in prison. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't want to go fight. He said, y'all call me a nigga over here. Them Viet Cong ain't calling me no nigga. Y'all calling me nigga over here. Come on, man. Y'all got to start using your brain, Israel. But nah, y'all teaching hate. Yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? You're going to find your ass sprung up on a tree trying to hang with these motherfuckers. Sluggies. Excuse my French. You know who your enemy is, man. Bottom line. Where am I at? Verse 15. My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face hath covered me. Verse 16. For the voice of him that reproacheth and blasphemeth by reason of the enemy and avenger. You know what I'm saying? Verse 17. All this is come upon us, yet have we not forgotten thee, neither have we dealt falsely in thy covenant. Verse 18. Our heart is not turned back, neither have our steps declined from thy way. Verse 19. Though thou hast sore broken us in the place of dragons and covered us with the shadow of death. Yeah, that's what we cover. So-called Black, Latino, Native American. We are covered with the shadow of death. And all these other nations, they live in lavish, man. We are the only ones struggling. Yeah, okay, you want to be simple because we got them simpletons out there. Oh, there's some poor Asians. Yeah, of course, man. You know what I'm saying? Look at how they treat themselves, each other in their own country, because they're crabs in a barrel. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna make it all blatant and stuff like that. But look at the balance, man. Weigh it out, man. You know what I'm saying? Look at percentage. You know what I'm saying? We are at the bottom and they are at the top when we compare. Like I just said, they 1 billion annually, 1.1 billion annually for selling hair grease to black people. Come on, man. Come on, man. You know, I got 1.1 billion annually for selling black hair grease, weaves to black people. That's how much money they're getting from us. Well, we could do this shit ourselves, man. You're going to get your nails. I don't even know what they're making money doing nails too. Doing nails. You know what I'm saying? Doing nails. Let's go ahead and get it. Verse 17. All this has come upon us, yet have we not forgotten thee, neither have we dealt falsely in thy covenant. Verse 18. Our heart is not turned back, neither have our steps declined from thy way. Verse 19. Though thou hast sore broken us in the place of dragons and covered us with the shadow of death. Verse 20. If we have forgotten the name of our Father, of our gods, or stretched out our hands to a strange God, verse 21, shall not God search this out? For he knoweth the secrets of the heart. And that's exactly what we did. You know what I'm saying? Now we worshiping these other gods, man, like I said earlier. You know what I'm saying? Verse 22, yea, and this is where it said, for where it is written. This is what he said, right? You know what I'm saying? Where it is written. Now, he done read all this to the Italians. You know what I'm saying? He read all this, right? And they probably looking at this nigga like he crazy. You know? Yeah. Verse 22, yea, for thy sake are we killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Like at this point, man, I'm pretty sure the Italians they got up and walked out. You know what I'm saying? They go, oh man, Paul tripping, man. You know, forget Christianity. You know what I'm saying? And long story short, I mean, let's think about it. Did not Paul get unalive? You know what I'm saying? For teaching the word. What happened to the Christians? They didn't help them. They didn't, you know, where's that at in the history book? Italian Christians died as well with Paul. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Y'all wake up, man. Verse like 23, and wait, why sleepest thou, O Lord? Arise, cast us not off forever. Verse 24, wherefore hidest thou thy face and forgettest our affliction and our oppression? This have nothing to do with Italians, man. You know, verse 25, for our soul is bowed down to the dust. Our belly cleaveth unto the earth. Verse 26, arise for our help and redeem us for thy mercy's sake. This is King David's writings, man. If King David found out, man, like, Paul is going to speak to his King David's enemies, man, because that's who the Romans are. The Romans are taking over Jerusalem right now. Right now. You know what I'm saying? When Paul is talking to, you know, teaching these other nations, man, Italians. You know what I'm saying? This, man, King David, man, this is all he talked about, man, is redeeming Israel, man. Come on, man. Now, all of a sudden, Christ's gonna wake up and say, "Oh, man, go to Paul, go to the Gentiles, man, the other nations, man. Tell them they could come in too, man. They could be grafted in, man. They could be adopted, man. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. David wouldn't have that, man. Yeah, Christ ain't gonna have that. Like he said, he ain't sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He did not change that, man. It just so happened we became Gentiles, man. We started doing them ways, and we got kicked out. You know, I think that's in Hosea somewhere, man. Not all of us. Some of us, you know, we kept our customs, you know, but we were being unalive, and they were forcing them to speak Greek. What they call them Hellenists and stuff like that, or what have you. You know, let's go to Psalms 83. I'm about to wrap it up right here. Because they are confederate against us, man. You know, as the scripture says. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83, starting at 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Verse 6, the tabernacle of Edom. They go Edom, Esau, who the Christian church say, oh, Jacob stole Esau's birthright. You know what I'm saying? The tabernacle of Edom. And this is David, King David, writing this right here. You know what I'm saying? And the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes. You know what I'm saying? He goes on and on and on. There's a bunch of tribes, man, that are confederate against us, man. And there's nothing new under the sun, man. They still here. These other nations are still here, man. And they're living lavish. They're making $1.1 billion annually off the children of Israel, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we're going to still have our ignorant people out there, man. It's lucky. You know, I was ignorant once too, but you got to wake up, man. You know, ignorance is just, you know, you got a lack of knowledge, man. But the ones I'm talking about, the coon ass niggas, actually. You know what I'm saying? Got them over there, man, talking about we teaching hate and stuff like that, man. Yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? You're going to, like most likely, you know, Christ said, you're going to get your reward. You know what I'm saying? And Christians leading our people astray. But, you know, with that, you know, I want to say, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barak to the brothers. Yahweh Shema Allah by Shem Yahshua to the sisters. Shalom, Israel.